Hello YouTube, this is Engineer Pat 5290 coming to you live with some model railroad tips for you beginners and know how to buy the right train and what brands are out there. I know a lot of you out there are model railroaders. I'm a small model railroader, but I've moved towards watching the big trains. But for a while, I was collecting model trains for some time. I know there are a lot of guys who get involved with it, who go out all out, and one person that I do follow is Eric Siegel, who does his Appalachian and Western layout. You can please subscribe to his channel, which is Eric's Trains. He goes all out with it. It's an amazing layout. It's so good. It's hard to explain in words, but he has collected a lot of stuff. Lionel, MTH, Atlas O, Weaver, you name it, he has it. He collects the O scale. That's about 1/49th scale. I've collected both O gauge and HO gauge, which is 1/87th, and those are very good models to collect. I'm not really into N scale and Z scale and large scale, which is G scale. That's mainly used for outside railroading, but a lot of people stick with O gauge and or HO gauge. There's some of the popular gauges out there. O gauge to me is really big. It takes up a lot of space, but if you're looking for a really good scale to go with, that you don't want too big or too small, it's in the middle, HO gauge is perfect. I have been satisfied with HO for a long time. It's small, and you can put together literally maybe a small 4x8 layout with HO's gauge and not have any problems. Some of the brands for HO gauge are Bachmann, Athearn, Atlas, Proto 2000. That's Lifelike, but they changed to Proto 2000, which they're kind of hard to find. Bowser is another one, but mostly I collect, and there's also Intermountain as well. They do locomotives and cars. Bachmann and Athearn and Atlas are the ones that I have collected the most. I have never had any problems with those companies. I collect Bachmann DCC onboard locomotives for my motive power, which I do have some running videos of my HO scale trains as well. I have a few Athearn blue box kits. You can still get those, but they're used though. But Athearn stopped carrying the line a few years ago. But they have the Ready to Roll series for locomotives and cars. They also have Athearn Genesis. Athearn Genesis is a good series. Another good HO scale dealer is Atlas. Atlas Silver Series, Atlas Gold, Atlas Master Series. All their locomotives have great sound. They're really good about putting detail in. Athearn and Atlas are tied with that. So if you're looking for good HO scale locomotives, I would either stick with Athearn or Atlas for sound. And Bachmann has their own sound, but Bachmann sometimes doesn't put in as much detail as Athearn or Atlas. The paint jobs for both Athearn and Atlas are very close. Sometimes Bachmann cuts corners a little bit. So that's a little bit about the HO scale. Now the O scale, one of the best brands that everybody knows out there is Lionel. Lionel for life, baby. I love Lionel. They've really stepped up the game with their sound systems. They have the Legacy system, which is the updated version of TMCC. Trainmaster Command and Control was introduced in 1995. That's a system I used for a long time. I like it. It's okay, but the Legacy has a lot more options in it with better crew talk, better sounds, and more control. And that is Cab 2 mode. Cab 1 mode is classic TMCC. So you can still run your classic TMCC locomotives with the Legacy system. The only thing you have to do is set it to Cab 1 mode. If you want to set it to Cab 2 mode, which is Legacy, you can run your Legacy locomotives. MTH is right behind Lionel. MTH has two lines, the Rail King line and the Premier line. Let me take a few minutes to talk about this. Eric Siegel went into detail with this. I'd like to go over a little bit about it with you. MTH has two lines, like I just said, Rail King and the Premier line. The Premier comes in a purple box. Rail King line comes in a yellow box. There are some similarities between the lines. Both engines have two motors, and they're both equipped with Protosounds. I think it's Protosounds 5 now. Protosounds 4, Protosounds 5. But they both are equipped with Protosounds. Detailing wise, there are some differences here. Rail King line, you're not going to find a lot of separately applied details. You're going to find a lot of molded in details. The Rail King line is a line for people who are trying to save a little bit of money, have the toy-like out of an engine, and something that can go around a small 027 gauge layout without having any issues. Let's talk about some of the auxiliary features. I mean, sometimes you will get a smoke unit, sometimes you won't, sometimes you're not going to. I mean, with separately applied details with the Rail King line, you can't count it because some of those items are not built to scale. They're a little bit smaller than they should be. And sometimes some Rail King items are pretty close to scale. But sometimes with the Rail King line, you can't count it being exactly to scale. Now, when you go to this Premier line for MTH, and you're getting something in the purple box, whether it's a locomotive or a piece of rolling stock, you know you're getting the best that MTH has to offer by the time the item is made. You have lots of separately applied details like separately applied number boards, a working door if applicable, smoke unit, lots of extra separately applied tooling, lots of separately painted items on the fuel tank, lots and lots of separately applied details, and every Premier line item is built to scale. Whether if it's a piece of rolling stock or a locomotive, it is all built to scale. It is a little bit more expensive than the Rail King line, but you're going to get a better quality locomotive. Even the molded in details look better on the Premier line, than the Rail King engine. So, and even what I just explained about that also applies to the rolling stock. You have compare a Rail King car with a Premier line car. The Rail King line item is built a little bit smaller to negotiate tight turns, while the Premier line item has more separately applied detailing and is built to scale. So, MTH is good. I only own one piece of MTH. It's a Union Pacific boxcar, which is Rail King. Lionel has done a very good job with stepping it up to scale. They've had a whole lot of separately applied details, crew figures inside the cab, which is a very nice touch, and just lots and lots and lots of detail just in these locomotives. Lionel's track is the fast track. It's better than the older track because it snaps together just within 3 seconds. It's together. If you want a small legacy layout, you're not going to go for something big, maybe just a couple loops. The CW80 is a small transformer, but that is just for a small layout for somebody who's not going to really buy a whole lot. It's just for a small layout. Now, if you want to go like big layouts, you would want like the ZW transformer, and now the updated version of that is the ZWL. It's pretty much the same transformer. It's big and it's heavy. It's got 2 levers on it, like you're actually controlling the trains. You can definitely use that. It puts out a lot of power, and that's what I use on my O-scale layout as well. It's an older model as well, and I tell you, it does a really good job. You can always buy books on layouts too. I think I got a couple of books here. If I can find them real quick. Yeah. Yep, here they are. Here's just a couple of books that you might want to be interested in buying. These are older books. Like, here's some easy layouts you can build. This book is really good for you beginners. The ones who are just getting into the hobby or just want to just go back and refresh your memory. This is a really good book to look at. I looked at this book plenty of times. And since I'm an Eagle Scout, I also teach the Railroading Merit Badge. And I let the students, I should say, pick out a layout and just design it. They can do it on a piece of graph paper or just a regular piece of scratch paper. That will work as well. Now, this book here that I'm getting ready to show you is called the Lionel book. This one goes into a little bit more detail. As you can see, it's a whole lot thicker. It goes into more of how to hook stuff up, how to make your track plans, about different engines, operating cars, operating accessories. That's a really good one. You can usually find some pretty good Lionel dealers. One thing I will mention, I would not buy direct from Lionel because the prices tend to be a lot higher. If you go through a really nice Lionel dealer, you will get a discount off of the factory price. I would avoid buying any used locomotive on eBay because even though they say it runs good, you may not have that performance once you get it. So, that is one thing you should stay away. If it was like an old piece of rolling stock that's used, that's okay. I mean, a little bit of wear and tear. I used to buy that for HO stuff, and I got a couple pieces of used O-scale items. They still run really nice. Maybe a cracked truck frame or a wobbly wheel. That is an easy fix. With something electrical with a locomotive, it is a very, very difficult fix. You would have to go to your Lionel dealer and let them look at that because it's wires and electrical boards, and for some of you model railroaders, you need to send it to a dealer. You would rather for them to look at it instead of messing it up and making it, you know, non-compliant when it's no longer any good. But there are just a couple of books that you can definitely look at. I think I've got one more as well. And of course, you can also find these price guides as well. This was from 1901 to 1998. And see, it is a little old, but as you can see, it just has a lot of guides and tools where you can actually get some price guides on how to sell your items. If you're interested in selling items, you can do it on eBay. You can do it on Amazon if you want, but I would prefer doing eBay. eBay is very easy to deal with. I have bought stuff off of eBay. I have not sold anything on eBay, but eBay is a very good source if you want to shop right at your own home. This is going to be some good sources for you to use. Before you really start any hobby, talk to some people that are experienced in the hobby and know a lot about it before you actually go out and buy something. Because the more you know before you buy, the better off you'll be. When my dad was into the hobby, he read a lot of books and talked to some people, and it really helped him. And plus, I talked to a lot of people too. Dad helped me get started, and I talked to people over time on how to do things. One of my best opinions, build your own accessories. One of my best suggestions, build your own accessories. I have built a control stand. I have built my own bridges. I've built my own tunnels. It's cheaper to build them instead of buying them because accessories nowadays for model trains are expensive. I would definitely suggest building your own because I think you will have a whole lot more fun with it. You go all out with it with details. So that is a big plus when it comes to build. You build your own layout, then all of a sudden go to the train store and buy all the stuff you need, and boom, you got a layout. But having model trains is fun, especially if you have kids. I mean, kids love model trains. They love sound. They love everything that's auxiliary in a locomotive. They love the realistic sounds. But go to layouts. Go visit some layouts. Pick out some tips. And I really encourage that because every tip that you learn, you could apply to your layout. So, I know this has been a long video. Just wanted to do a quick video on just some model railroad tips and how to get started for some of you beginners. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer some. Please leave your comments in the description box. I encourage comments. If you don't know something, as a good model railroader, always ask. Always ask people how they did something. So that's one little tip that everybody should do. So anyway, if you have any questions, leave me comments. I encourage you to leave them. Thank you all very much for watching this video. I'm Engineer Pat, and I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you next time.